So I'm in the shop. It's on a Sunday, and I've got the Dodge in here. I got the International out of here. I put that fan clutch back onto it without the fan, just the fan clutch, so that I could get the belt around it and running the alternator. But I brought the Dodge in here, put it up on the lift. I needed to change the oil filter, or fuel. I'm sorry, not the oil filters, the fuel filters, and up until now, I have only changed the rear fuel filter. There's two fuel filters on it. One is in the rear, just outside of the gas tank. It's got the electronic sensor on it for water and the fuel. And then there's another filter, the one that you see up on the top, is on the engine. And I have never changed it. Yeah, it's black, but I've got to tell you, I've seen filters in worse condition than this. And I tell you that I've never changed it. The truck has 110,000 miles on it. Now, I do change the rear fuel filter fairly often. Not as often as they say that you should, but I change that fairly often. But if you know the fuel that you're getting is good, you're not suspect of the fuel. My personal opinion is change the rear filter. That engine filter can probably go for quite a while without ever having to have it changed. But again, that's my opinion. I know that Dodge or Cummins or any of the manufacturers would dispute that. They would dispute it because well, they would dispute it because two things. They want you to change the filters and warranty issues. They don't want to get, they're going to say, well, you didn't change the filters enough. You don't have records of changing the filters enough. So it's a warranty issue. Anyways, just my personal opinion. I'll bring you back for other stuff. I thought I'd bring you over and show you this. I just brought the truck in. It's not snowing, but it was kind of a rainish type of thing. Rain, maybe sleet, maybe some snow last night. It's fairly warm. I mean, for this time of year, 37, so I got water on the bed of the truck. It was out all night last night, but I just kind of wanted to show it to you. I'm kind of happy with that, how it's beating up and it's not soaking into the wood. Yeah, I just thought I'd bring you over and show it to you. What I'm going to do is, I still haven't figured out what I'm doing with the fan clutch yet. I'm still exploring some options, but what I'm going to probably be doing today is making the basket for the chain. I just wanted to bring it in here so that I could get some accurate measurements on it, kind of figure out how far I want it to stick out, how high I want it to be, what the material is. Now, I used expanded metal on my other one, and what the problem is the thing is, that basket on my trailer is probably a good 4 years old, maybe more. But I used expanded metal on it, and I used expanded metal on it so that water, snow would go through it, not collect inside of it. But there's all sorts of different expanded metal. There's expanded metal like this that has small openings in it, and it's also smooth. it's not raised up. And then there's the expanded metal that is raised up like this stuff over here, where it's rough. Well, the larger expanded metal, sometimes the chain links will get bound up into it. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to do and how much of the expanded metal I'm going to put on. I'm thinking of only putting the expanded metal on part of the bottom of it, just so that the water is able to go down through. The water and snow, as the snow, coarse snow is not going to go down through it unless it melts, but when it melts it'll siphon down through the openings of the expanded metal. So I'll bring you back as I'm doing it. Here's a sketch over here of the welding table, and I'm going to show you the beginning of this basket. What I've got is the two frames made with the expanded metal put in it. Now originally I was going to put something on top of this, but I think because of the expanded metal, the thickness of the expanded metal, and me being able to get that edge smooth, I think I'm going to leave it like that. So I've still got to attach the two sides together, put expanded metal down the center of it, and I'm going to put a small strip of expanded metal up the side, just so, yeah, just so, well, I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Let me see. I'll think about it overnight. It's getting late, and I'm going to take the truck out, park it outside, but let me think about it. It's one of them things that I want to think about, and before I jump to a way of doing it that I don't like or regret. Okay, so I'm back over here to the truck, and one of my viewers left a comment saying that he had luck blowing air, shop air pressure into this thing. He says he blew air into it and it reset. I've got to assume that there's a bad O-ring or an O-ring that's out of place. I don't understand the logic to it, but the guy said what he did is he blew shop air pressure into this thing and it stopped the fan clutch from leaking. So, you know, I'm going to give it a shot, see what happens. But so I'm over here. What I did is, if you can see on the end of that red air nozzle, what I've done is put a piece of 1/4-inch tubing. That's what it is. It's 1/4-inch tubing that goes into that fan clutch. I put it over the end of the nozzle. What I'm going to do is put it in there and blow shop air pressure into it and see what happens, if it does anything. To me, logically, it kind of doesn't make sense how that would work, but let's give it a shot. I don't know whether you can hear it. What I did is I blow air pressure into it and it's still leaking out that relief port on the housing. Kind of cool though how it works. What it does is it expands that diaphragm out and pushes the fan out actually towards the radiator, which probably engages the clutch. If it leaked with shop air, I'm assuming it's going to continue to leak with truck air pressure on, but what I'm going to do is start it up and we'll see what happens. And here we are back over here with the other camera, and as you can probably hear, it's still leaking out of there. But anyways, that was cool. I kind of showed me how this thing worked, how it expands that diaphragm out, and that outer housing actually shifts out. So I've still got to try and get this thing apart and figure out what's going on. Here's that chain rack bin. Not rack, bin. I had some of that POR 15 left over, so I just tried to paint as much as I had onto it. Wasn't a very good job. All I had was one of them foam pad brushes, a small one, and it got ripped up pretty quickly, but at least I got that on it. And what I'll do is I'll just paint the rest of it with that polyurethane paint, that top coat paint. I'll just paint the rest of it with that, because I don't have any of that any of the POR 15 left. But anyways, there it is. I'm not sure, kind of before Thanksgiving, and I'm not sure when I'm going to get to it, but it won't be today. Okay, I'm up on the bed of the truck, and what I did is I just took this chain basket and sat it up here so that I could show it to you in place. Now, I haven't painted it. I told you that I put that POR 15 on it, but I ran out of it, didn't have any more. And I was just going to finish it off with the urethane. I haven't done that yet. Again, it was Thanksgiving, and just came back, so I've been doing some other things, checking that air thing on the fan clutch, as you've seen in the clips previous to this. But anyways, I just wanted to set it up there and kind of show it to you. One of the things in the earlier clip that I had talked about when I was building it, whether I was going to put expanded metal on the side of it. What I had is some 6-inch plate stock. So I cut a couple of pieces of that and just slid it into the edges. So no expanded metal on the sides of it. It's plate steel that holds it together, and I welded it out. But anyways, the other thing that I wanted to show you was what I did is welded a couple of washers. I put them on a grinding wheel and ground a flat spot in them so that they would set against the angle iron of the support legs flat, and welded that on. What I'll do is I'll take a couple of lag bolts and just bolt it down through there. Not to hold it down, the weight of it will hold it down, just to hold it in place so that it doesn't slide out. It would be pretty hard for it to slide out, but I'll put just a couple of small lag bolts in it to do it. You know, I mean, there'd be never, well, possibly if I was going up a steep slope or something like that with the truck, it could slide out. You know, most often when you brake, things have a tendency of sliding forward. Very rarely does things slide back. unless you accelerate fast, and you're not going to accelerate fast in a truck. So going up a steep slope would be the next logical thing to create it to slide back. But again, just put the washers on there. I'll put a couple of smaller lag bolts in it, and it'll hold it in place. But anyways, I'll bring you back. What I did was break out the paint gun and painted this with the poly or the urethane paint. Yeah, I flipped it over, so it's probably gonna. I painted the other side, then flipped it over so it would only rest on top of the expanded metal, or the expanded metal would rest on top of the sawhorses. So there would be a very narrow spot that is going to be, the paint's going to be screwed up where it sat on it. But when I flip it back over, I'll just hit it with some Rust-Oleum or something in that one spot to take care of it. But anyways, that's done. Well done, with the exception of touching up where it's resting on the sawhorses. What I'll do is I'll pick up some lag bolts and get this thing mounted tomorrow. Probably gonna pull that fan clutch back up again tomorrow, and I have got, I'm not sure if I showed you this or not. What it is an induction heater, and I'm gonna try and heat up around them bolts. I've also got a Torx Plus bit to get in there to try and get that out. That bolt out of the fan clutch is, you know, from the previous shop update that I had issues with that. Here I am back over the truck pulling this fan clutch back off again. Of course, I forgot the little tool that disconnects the air line. Okay, we've got it out, and we're over to the bench. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this air line back in there and show you what originally I thought he meant to do was blow air into the air inlet. And let me show you how it works. It'll and see, I've got pressure on it, and there's air blowing out of it. So now let me try and put the hose on that casing relief part. See, something is, because it shouldn't do that, it should have back pressure on it. Let me try going back into the air inlet again. So that last one was a casing relief port, and this is back into the air supply feed. Yeah, I don't know whether you can hear it, but it's still leaking. So that didn't work. Let me bring you back. Okay, so I'm back over here to the bench, and I've got this inductor thing. So this is just 110 volts, got the coil on it, and what it does, I'll show it to you. It will heat up something pretty hot. You just put this around it, you don't have to touch it, you just put it around it, and as you can see, it's smoking. I'm not sure if it's red yet or... Yep. I don't know whether you could see it. It just kind of looked brownish, kind of, but I'll pull it off and show it to you. So anyways, it's kind of time for lunch, and what I'll do is I'll bring you back after lunch. I'm going to try and stick it around the head of the bolt. The guy that let me borrow this, well, it was actually the Mac Tool guy, let me borrow that, and he says try that because it should induce the heat right down through the bolt in that thing. So we'll bring you back and we'll try it. Okay, so we're back over here, and let me tell you what I did. Before I left to go to lunch, I heated this up a little bit and put a little bit of PB Blaster in there, thinking that if it heated it up, the core of the bolt up, sorry, something fell over and hit the tripod. If it heated the core or the head of the bolt up, and it does go down in the core, me spraying the PB Blaster in there would cool the head, but the core of the bolt would stay warm, and it might suck that stuff down in there, but we'll see. I took a towel and wiped it out afterwards. Wiped out the PB Blaster. Okay, so what I don't want to do is I don't want to put that wrench into the bolt while it's still red hot, because what it would do is just deform that Allen bolt. So hopefully this induction heater, even though it was heating the top of the bolt, will send the heat down in there, and me putting the wrench on is going to be into a cold head now that I've got it off, but the bolt core will still be warm from the induction heater. Gonna shut you off, get the wrenches ready, and bring you back when I'm doing it. That socket, that Torx Plus was a little hard to get in there. As you can see, I was pulling on it pretty good, and I got nothing out of it. Let me go get a pair of pliers to get that out with. Okay, I got the thing out, the Torx Plus out. That fits tight in there. Let me take you over to something else. Let me think about this for a minute, and I'll bring you back. And here is that chain bin mounted up on the truck. As I explained, I had found a couple of lag bolts in the shop and had just painted the heads of them So I just drilled them in with those washers. You'll probably notice there's a little bit of a copper washer underneath it. I did that to shim it up a little bit because the boards are uneven. Again, they're rough cut and they're uneven a little bit, so I just did that. Bring you back. I figured as long as I was over here, I'd just give you a view from a lower angle from the bed truck on it. But anyways, I'll bring you back. Okay, I'm back over here to the fan clutch on the bench, and I guess what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna leave you guys here. What I'm gonna do is pull. Must have been a burr. Pull that. I thought it was hot for a minute. Pull that. Pull this off. I'm going to heat that back up. Put more PV Blaster in it. Let it set overnight. And then tomorrow I'm going to come in and I'm going to do the same thing all over again. But this time, in preparation, what I'm going to do also is use this Torx Plus, get it in there, and hit on it a little bit too. After I've gotten that PV Blaster in there for a little while, I'll take this and hit on it and see if I can get this thing to free up. If I can't get it to free up, I'm going to go for trying to break that bolt. I'll just put enough torque on it where I think that bolt should break, and hopefully the head breaks off and I'm able to pull all of this stuff out around it and get down to the root of the thread bolt or the bolt so that I can get them threads out of that housing. Get the bolt threads out of the housing. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. Like I said, guys, thanks for watching. Hit that thumbs up button. Apparently it helps a lot. Subscribe, share it, leave a comment.